I'm here with Peter Roux, who is an artist based in Asheville, North Carolina. And I wanted to talk to Peter a bit about his work, the business of art, and about the experience of other artists in Asheville who are recovering from the recent storm there. This is actually one of the few pieces that survived the storm.
You're absolutely right. It's one of the few that survived. So my studio, most everything got destroyed or not salvageable. It was up on the wall, and it was high enough on the wall that it managed to avoid the water. I was able to salvage it by taking it off the stretcher bars, that rolled it up carefully, and brought it home.
Your studio space was in what's called the River Arts District. Was anyone expecting that it would cause that kind of damage?
It was a complete surprise. No one was expecting the level of damage and destruction that ended up occurring.
Do you remember the moment in time when you learned that the River Arts District was overwhelmed the way that it was?
It was a drone shot in the air of my building of River Arts and the surrounding buildings. They were all underwater. And I saw that photo and I said, well, it's done. It's done.
So obviously we are in the business of employment law. Would you be willing to talk to us about some of the types of jobs that you held in those years before you were able to work full-time as an artist?
Sure. When I was in school, I waited tables. I was a server and some teaching. I became an adjunct professor, and that's just a fancy name for part-time.
When you were working the restaurant job, what kind of hours were you working?
I was working mostly nights. This was a restaurant that would be open until about 10, sometimes 11.
When did you sleep?
Probably not enough. Not enough. I learned at that point a little bit about discipline, about trying to get into patterns of working. When I go to the studio, I try and imagine that I have a boss, that I'm employed by someone who's watching me and watching when I'm here, when I'm in the office, and when I'm not.
Have you had relationships with any lawyers?
The owners of this beautiful boutique hotel, they wanted to rent original work. As we installed work, got an initial payment, and they never met a second payment or a third payment or a fourth payment. We were lucky because we ended up finding an attorney who was also an art collector who was willing to do partial payment and barter. And I did end up using him again for a couple of things. It's important. It's important to know your rights.
Peter, thank you again for the painting, and thank you for talking to me today. We're just really grateful to have the piece.
I appreciate it, and I appreciate the opportunity, but mostly thanks for giving us a really good home. I appreciate that.
All right.